Okay, so now we have our table. It's properly formatted. As you can see, we have an appropriate title. We have appropriate axis titles. We have our significant figures in our axes consistent with our data and our uncertainty. So that's something to keep an eye out for. What we're going to do now is learn how to add our error bars. Now, you need to be working on a desktop version or a laptop version, a full version of Excel to do this properly the way that the IB wants you to do it. So if you're working on sheets, if you're working on numbers, the process is different. Sheets doesn't have the ability to do it, and the online version of Excel doesn't have the option, I don't believe. So anyway, so make sure you have the full version of Excel on your computer and you're not working on your iPad. So what you're going to do first is select the bars or the data points on your graph. It doesn't matter what type of graph you're using, if it's a bar graph or an XY scatter plot, your bar graph for the discontinuous variables, your XY scatter plot for the continuous variables. We are going to click on the data point and we're going to go to Add Chart Element. Down here in Add Chart Element, I am going to select error bars. Here's the trick. Don't pick standard deviation. We do want to use standard deviation as our error bars, but we don't want one standard deviation for all of our data, and we don't want all of our data mixed together. So we're going to pick more error bar options. Okay, so again, all I did was I clicked on the bar from my bar graph. I went to Add Chart Element. I went to Error Bars, more error bar options. Then you can see that this line has popped up. If you have more than one line popping up, for example, you might end up having a vertical error bar, but you might also get horizontal error bars. You can easily delete your error bars by just clicking on them. So for example, we don't want horizontal error bars. So mine didn't pop up, but had it, I would have just clicked on the error bar and pressed delete, and that would have gotten rid of that for me. Now I need to format my error bars. I'm going to go over to this little icon here, and this is going to allow me to set the specifications for a custom error bar. So I want the direction for my error bar to be both, because I want to choose one standard deviation above and one standard deviation below the average. Cap style doesn't matter. And then I'm going to choose custom for my error bars. So we're going to choose custom error bars. Now I'll specify the value. And for this, I'm going to specify the standard deviation that I calculated back in my table. All I need to do is highlight those two cells that have my standard deviation. Okay, so I'm going to click and pull over, highlighting both of those numbers. That's going to set one standard deviation above the average, but I also need to do my negative error bar value. So I want to select that same standard deviation again, but now for my negative error bar value. So if I click into the box, negative error value, and then I highlight the two standard deviations, it's going to automatically put in the specific standard deviation for each data set on the bars in my graph. And that's it. Next, we're going to look at how to discuss the patterns going on, what do the error bars mean, what are they telling you, and is your data supporting a conclusion or not, or which conclusion.